So in this video, we will be looking at reflection of a circle and a line. So in our previous video, we looked at reflection of a line and a line, reflection of a point and a line. And in this video, we will be delving into reflection of a circle and a line. So one thing you need to remember before you start learning or studying about this subject or this particular topic is that the standard equation of a line. So this is x minus h squared plus x minus k squared equals r squared. I think we're all familiar with this circle equation. So in this case, h and k represent a coordinate of the center. So for example, if the center is, let's say, minus 3, 2, then when it's plugged into this equation, x plus 3 squared plus, this is y, guys, my bad, y minus 2 squared equals r squared. Okay, so if we eventually get into this point and we need to extract the center, then we will do the reverse, which is minus 3 plus 2. So in the equation, if it's positive, then the center is negative, and the equation, if it's negative, then the center is positive. So don't forget that point. Now let's move on to our lesson of today. When we're reflecting a circle and a line, we need to keep this in mind. So when we reflect a circle, the center coordinates change. Okay, this is very standard, but the radius doesn't. As in, the length doesn't change. Okay, so don't forget this. When we reflect a circle, the coordinates of the center change, but the length of the radius doesn't change. So we will be looking at two cases that we might encounter when reflecting a circle. So the first one is, so if the center is a point on the line of reflection L, then the circle's image is itself. So for example, if this is the line of reflection, this is the line of reflection, and we have the circle. If the center of the circle is this one right here, then the image is itself, because the point lies in the center lies in the line of reflection. So don't forget that. So the image is going to be itself. So the second case is the image is different from the original. So this is the situation in most cases. So let's look at that right now. So we're going to look at it with an example. So as you can see here, we will be looking at this in the example. So the first thing we need to do, or the first step, is going to be identify the center. So I'm going to give you guys a few seconds to identify it. Okay, great. So the center is going to be 4, 1. So this is going to be our center, just like I showed you before. So yeah. So the next thing we're going to do is set up the coordinate system so we can actually reflect the center. So as we know, the radius doesn't really change, so all we need to do is reflect the center. So we can find the equation of the circle of the reflected, or C prime. So S is going to be, C. C is going to be our point here, which is 4, 1. So now we need to reflect this. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is draw a broken line, like I showed you in the last video, but I'm going to go through it again. So a broken line like this. So as you see, this broken line is perpendicular to the line of reflection. So what we do now is, as you know, the line of reflection and this line, which we're gonna call, let's just call B, they have the negative, their slope is the negative reciprocal of each other. So the line of reflection has the equation y equals x minus 1. So if m1 is equal to 1, just right here, m2 is gonna be minus 1. The next thing we need to do is we need to find the equation of line B. So to do that, we already know the slope and we already have a initial point, which is C 4, 1. So with that, we plug in these two informations into this particular equation. So we plug the numbers here. So y minus, in this case, y naught is we're just gonna fill y naught and x naught from here. So y minus 1 is equal to m times x minus 4, which will be, so when we simplify it, our final equation will be this. So the equation of B is going to be minus x plus 5. So our next step is going to be solve for this particular point, which we will call small letter b. So now we are going to make a system of linear equations using the line of reflection and the equation of b. So which is y equals x minus 1, and then y equals minus x plus 5. So we're going to solve for x first, which will be 2x. So the answer will be x is equal to 3, and then by plugging in 3 into one of the equations, we get y equals to 2. So point B right here is going to be 3, 2. So once we find these points, then our next step is to find the particular point of C prime. So as you know, this is equal, so we plug it in into these equations. X naught plus x1 or 2 is equal to x1. So what we're going to do next is plug in the numbers. So here we have 4 plus x prime is unknown, so over 2, which equals to x1 is known, which is 3. So crisscross 6 equals 4 plus x1. So x1 is going to be 2. Next, we're going to solve for y. We use the same exact equation like we did right now and plug in the numbers. So y1 in this case will be 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, which equals to 1 plus y prime. Then y prime is equal to 3. So y prime is 3. So once we find C prime, which is 2, 3, we need to plug it into the equation, the standard equation that I showed you in the beginning of the video, which is this. Okay, so as you know, the radius stays the same. So x minus 2 plus y minus 3 squared equals 9. Okay, so this is the final equation of the circle which was reflected. So this is how you do it.